Last week, we talked about it. So we are looking at how Christianity changed the world. That's basically what we are looking at. Last week, we talked about Jesus and the way he wanted to create a new society. A society where people come from different places, but they can come together as one people. So far as those people have decided that they will follow Jesus, right? So because of that, the old things that we used to hold ourselves together, which is what the sociologists call strong kinship, so your family, where you come from, and so on. Those were the things that we used to bind ourselves together. But Jesus treats us as individuals. Nyame frɛ obiara sɛ ɔmmra na ɔmmɛka ɔno Nyame de busua foforɔ no a ɔyɛ no, building a new fictive kinship. And so he's calling people from different places, wherever they come from, into this new group of people. And this fictive kinship that we call church and beyond has had a huge impact on the whole world. We are sitting here, people from different tribes and countries, and so we are here. The world was not like that before Jesus Christ. So, whilst we are in it and we are going and coming, we should remember it's because of somebody that the world is the way it is today. And not just that, it means there is more work to do to move us forward. And in addition, to remember also that it means that some things will also try to move us backwards. Some people, the ideas that Christianity and Jesus Christ brought, they were not normal in their time. And so many people are still not comfortable with it, and they would want us to move back to a certain way of life. A way of life that makes the strong and the powerful more strong and powerful. I hope you are getting it. So today we want to talk about marriage. We'll do today and next time we meet, because it's probably one of the most radical changes that Jesus Christ brought, that Christianity brought into the world because of Jesus Christ. All right. So we look at marriage. Again, we are used to saying some things about marriage today, but they were not normal. Before Christianity came along, the way we have one man, one wife, and it was not normal. It was Nyansen. That's something. It was like, what are you people crazy? Okay, but today it is what it is, and we are kind of all right. But we want to remind ourselves why it is important the way we are today. And also be aware that it is okay if other people don't like that. It's fine. Allow them to do what they want. So, in the ancient world, marriage was primarily a tool of forming alliances to protect a clan or family in a precarious. Our area, marriage is they are using it to protect our clans and our families. We use it to form connection with one another. And most of the time it was the parents who were deciding who we were going to marry. Today we are like, to marry this man because he's this one, he's that one, he's this one. Hey, make your own decision who you want to marry. No. Those days, it is your parents who decide who you get married to. And their main decision was drivers of their decision is me by Medinema sa ebusia we are. And yet, man, no, didn't remember the so much as the ebusia that you put the child in, so that some benefits will come to the family. When times are difficult, they can fall on that family to come and help them. And when things are going well for that family, it will benefit them as well. That's the primary mentality of fathers those times. So it wasn't children were deciding for themselves. So the children were the property of the man. So he decides which man he will give a child to, with the hope that it will form a bond that will protect them. Again, think, strong kinship. The sustenance of the clan is the most important. So that means also that you want to be sure that the family you are giving your child to marry is the family you know. You know them already. There's this song in Ghana which goes like, why? It's from that mindset that if I go into a marriage somewhere far away and trouble happens, like one, that person, like, which family is it? How can we guarantee that that family is going to take proper care of our child? And that family, we can fall on them for what if we need their help. So it is preferred that the marriage should not be entered in somebody who is far away, like thing, which means also that typically we are looking for people in our own tribe, our own clan, not too far away. Are you getting it? So these are the reasons why a lot of our cultures were not very okay with marrying from another tribe. Because already, it's not like they live together so that they can see them anyway. Number two, what is the guarantee that their tribe and their culture, they understand the way we do things, so that if they do baby now, so for them, marriage was not, oh, I see that I like this boy, and this one, oh, me, I like this one. So no. The fathers were using it as a way to strike strategic alliances to protect their own interests. And no, okay. So, finding a person of some financial, political, or military means was paramount to create a bond that brought honor to the parents, and that can be relied on in times of trouble. So you can't, I mean, yeah, father, if you are basically saying it's a family that you can depend upon, then a family also that has something. You get me? Something that can fall upon. If they have nothing, why will you give your daughter to their son? What is the benefit? You don't get anything out of it. When the times are hard. And number two, if there is something if you give your data to a family that has obtained honor or that has done some great things, then by extension, you also obtain some of that elimina, some of that honor. So these were the considerations that parents use to give their children out for marriage. Now, this also means that the parents, it didn't matter if the person was already married or had one wife or two or whatever already. It doesn't matter. What matters is the ability of this person that you're giving the child to be reliable enough that when we fall upon them, reliable as in not just its kind, reliable also in terms of money, reliable in terms of status, reliable in terms of, so far as that person will come to you. So far as that person can be one, take care of your child, two, bestow honor upon your child, and therefore by extension also be relied upon to support my family, then it doesn't matter that they already had previous wives. But if we have a question, please go ahead.
Yes. So when you were speaking, something just crossed my mind. Was it just, I mean, looking at things from just maybe like a one-sided thing, or sometimes as a means to, as it were, even though it was strategic in thinking, maybe make sure that there was peace. I remember I worked with one consultant whose parents are Mampusi and Kusasi. You know, the Mampusi and Kusasis are at Terrible War High in the Boko area. And one of the reasons why they actually got married was to broker peace. Because in their minds, if there were that intermarrying thing, then there will be lasting peace. Because if I decide to attack you, it would mean that I am attacking my child's family, my own self.
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly. So the point he's making is, was it also a means to like make peace between people of different cultures? And that is actually also, and again, it's strategic. So there is something we are seeking, and it's not just the welfare of the child itself, but something that is benefiting either the family or the society in some way. So if these two people had been at war for some time, then one of the ways in which we can broker peace was by taking most of the time a valuable person from one family, maybe the woman, and a valuable person from the man's side of two opposing people, and force them to get married, so that it creates a bond which should be protected. Because the idea is that, yes, when they marry, we are using the marriage to tie two people together to become one. If you watch these medieval stories about the old world, European, you see the kings giving their daughter to this other king's son. It was to strike alliances of support that you can fall on. And sometimes, yes, it meant that maybe there was a war before, but we don't want the war to continue. People are dying. Let's come together and let's seal it using a marriage of maybe a princess from here with a prince from here. So it still falls in line with what you are saying. It is marriage is a means of striking alliances that will make sure that Obia will benefit in some way from the thing. And the benefit is more of thinking about the society of one side and the society of the other side. It's not really about Oban and Ibrahim, of the man or the woman. It's really the people become a tool to achieve something beyond themselves. Okay. So the expansion of the honor and the protection to cover the new bride's family as well was what was important. Basically, to make sure that you become a people we can rely on instead of a people we are quote unquote fighting against or whatever it is. A people we can rely on for our times of need. Because let's not forget, sometimes me and you are fighting about it, but there is a bigger enemy who is coming. So we the small people, literally, let's come together and if Mambusi and Kusasi people, Charlie, the Dagumba people are even more powerful than us. If we stand here and fight one another, it will not help us. So let's find a way to bring ourselves together by marrying, and then now we are in an alliance. So when the Dagumba people are coming, but now we are one people, we can go and fight them. I hope you are getting it. So these were the considerations for marriage. Which means, for example, even if the prince of the other tribe or whatever had 2 wives, giving him a third one doesn't matter, so far as it will bring this family into a union with the other family. That's what is important. I hope you are getting it. Because after all, be able to take care of, and this one is my big deal. If sometimes even the family who's giving the woman we can even add money to it, add property to it, and so no, don't worry, we can take care. We add the woman plus property to it so that you can take care of her. So it's more of the striking of the alliances and how it will benefit both parties. Where the party is not necessarily the individuals, but the families. But we see something within the Old Testament which begins to lay the ground for thinking differently. Okay, when Yahweh rescues Israel, he makes a very important claim of faithfulness in Exodus 19, verse 5 to 6. So a lot of times we are talking about monogamy and we think it's all centered on the New Testament. No, we have to go back to the Old Testament. Okay, so Yahweh has just rescued Israel from Egypt. The Exodus chapter 19, verse 5 to 6. If I start from, let's see, verse 3. Then Moses went up to God, and the Lord called to him from the mountain and said, "This is what you are to say to the descendants of Jacob, and what you are to tell the people of Israel." The descendants of Jacob and the people of Israel. They are saying things, so they are just repeating it. Anyway, verse 4. You yourselves have seen what I did to Egypt, and how I have carried you on eagle's wings and brought you to myself. Now, if you obey me fully and keep my covenant, then out of all nations You will be my treasured possession. Out of all nations, you will be my treasured possession. And he says something very interesting. Although the whole earth is mine, you will be for me a kingdom of priests and holy nation. These are the words you have to speak to the Israelites. This is Yahweh. So we actually now immediate here. The whole world is mine. I can choose any nation I like, but I choose you, Israel. You'll be treasured. You'll be special for me. These are the beginnings of Yahweh tying himself to the people of Israel, giving them some sort of special status. Alright, so okay, here, so we are seeing a special status being given to Israel. But I'm going to say, what kind of special status is this? Look at how the prophets in Jeremiah chapter 3, verse 14, the prophets make it clear how special the relationship is. So Jeremiah chapter 3. Yes. Okay. So if you look at this is what Yahweh told Jeremiah. I should go and tell Israel. 3:14. Return, faithless people, declares the Lord. For I am your husband. I will choose you, one from a town and two from a clan, and bring you to Zion. Okay. He said he's going to pick people from different, the Israelites from wherever they are and bring them back as one people. To choose a town or choose from a village. But his idea is that he is the husband of Israel. So if we're not sure how special the relationship is in the Exodus, God is making it very clear. It's a covenant relationship in which Israel is his wife and he is their husband. And he said, you are the only wife I have. Out of all the nations, you are special. God could have said, I want plenty nations. Because, of course, he's God. If you want all the nations, and a special relationship with this one, this one, this one. No. For Old Testament, Yahweh says, Israel pay in the Yemen. And if you add Hosea chapter 2, verse 2, so again, the prophets, God is telling the prophet what he should tell, what to say. So Hosea chapter 2, verse 2, rebuke your mother, rebuke her, for she is not my wife, and I am not her husband. God is angry. Israel has been unfaithful, and because of that, they have gone into exile. All right, so it's like God is angry with them. She's not my wife again, and I'm not her husband again. Let her remove the adulterous look from her face and the unfaithfulness from between her breasts. Verse 5, their mother has been unfaithful and has conceived them in disgrace. And so on. So this is Yahweh feeling, you see, when in the Old Testament, Yahweh says, for I am a jealous God. What does it mean for Yahweh to say that? Yahweh is jealous because he has taken Israel as his wife. And he doesn't want that wife to go and follow other men or other gods. He doesn't want Israel to go and follow other gods. So he says, you are my wife. You have to be faithful to me. You are my only wife. I don't have any other wife. So when the people of Israel went to worship other gods, Yahweh feels hurt. He has a right to be hurt. He has a right to be jealous. You hear me? If you're a husband and you are married a woman and then a woman is going to chase some other man, you should be jealous. How do you get me? That was what shows that you actually take the thing seriously. Okay, so Israel is God's only wife. That means that even for God, even for Yahweh himself, he is a one wife man. Yahweh is faithfully monogamous. That's the thing. See Israel one and and this is the Old Testament. Yes. Now that time Abraham had multiple wives. David had multiple wives. But it's not like God didn't know that this was the way they were used to do them. So God was going along with them and trying to get them to see that the better way is what? For you to be faithful to the one wife. But the natural way of the world and of society has always been that we need to find protection by giving our children to this man or that to marry, so that if we need something to get, we need to strike alliance. So that even Israel also wanted to strike alliances with other nations, because almost said, oh, yeah, the friend is saying, Babylon 4, they are coming to kill us. So we need to go and tie ourselves to Egypt. Then maybe when trouble comes, when ask, come and help us. The Egypt can help. But when you do that, what you are saying is that your God is not as powerful to protect you. You are saying that Egypt God can protect you. So in that way, you are being unfaithful. You have taken another husband. So Israel was not supposed to do that. Then Jesus comes. And if you look at Matthew 19, verse 4 to 6. So Jesus was asked about the subject of divorce. In verse 3, Matthew 19, verse 3, some Pharisees came to him to test him. They asked, is it lawful for a man to divorce his wife for any and every reason? And then Jesus responded, haven't you read, he replied, that at the beginning the Creator made them male and female. And he said, for this reason, a man will leave his father and mother and be united to his wife, and the two will become one flesh. So they are no longer two, but one flesh. Therefore, what God has joined together, let no one separate. Important. He said, the man will leave his mother and father and go and be bound to the wife. And you form one flesh. It is the man who is leaving the mother and the father. Meanwhile, in our culture, they say, oh, the man is going to take the wife. The wife is leaving the family to come and be with the man's family. That's how we do it in Africa. But what scripture is actually saying, no. Both the man and the woman are leaving their families and creating totally new thing, which is one flesh. It has become something on its own, like it's become a complete thing. So it means it cannot be joined to another thing again, nor can it be separated. It should not be separated. I know that sometimes things happen, but Nyamia Jane said, Bearman every maybe or no, them are meant to be. Ebefa Obana, you know, Natina, Ayabako. This is not normal to our cultures. Our cultures are like, bring the woman can add to me, my family. And my family people can take left, right, and center what they want. And the woman must be. But you see how the way you feel, the Bible says, the man must leave his family. Which is what many of our people, they don't like that. And I say here, worry here, that's a crowd with you. And no, Bano, and I can't send no Bano can tea nothing. The mothers and the fathers, especially the mothers, they don't be complaining. My son doesn't listen to me anymore. And when I say, and only the woman that is listening. But it's not me who said it. It's Jesus Christ who said it. When it was about in creation, God wanted a man and a woman to come and be separate and be their own thing. They are not to be put together to serve the needs of the two societies. Not, oh, we want this, so let me give you my daughter so that and you marry, so that there will be peace and whatnot. That's not what Jesus, what God said. We are not tying the two families together. They are creating a totally different thing, which is separate from. And every culture up to today does not like that. All our parents don't like to hear this. They will say, oh, but in all truth, how Mukatra, who person himself, the banner, we're pretty like, because I'm like, it's in your name, Obana Befana, Nukan, yeah, I can't do it. Said that they are totally useless. But it's not me, that's what scripture is saying. Okay. So we need to really know now that the man is leaving the protection of his kin and forming a new union with a wife. And they are becoming one together. This is a spiritual reality. This is we Christians, our belief. This is not Ghanaian belief. This is not I before or 24 or probably whatever people believe. Because all our cultures say that, oh, the man has come to marry you, now you have become a family member to us. Whatever we the family is for us, that's what you, the woman, have. To the extent that if the man dies, come and take all the property and throw you the woman away. The woman has become the property of the family. This is how our cultures think. This is not what Scripture says. This is not the example that Jesus is painting for us. And we will not abandon our families and totally ignore them. We are still there to help and support and do whatever. But Jesus is trying to tell us that a new reality has been created. That reality should not be separated in any way, shape, or form. I say it's making us more like. So it is the man who is living and forming a union with wife. And Paul says it differently in Ephesians chapter 5, verse 25. See, let's not forget, Yahweh could have had all the nations to himself. He left all the nations and said, Israel, it's you bet that I am entering this relationship. That's where the thing comes from. God deciding to have an exclusive relationship with Israel, which cost him the relationship with other nations. That's where the thing begins from. And that's what when he was creating man and woman, he replicated that same behavior or that same law. So we bring it to Ephesians chapter 5. So now Paul is Jesus said God left everything and chose only Israel. And Jesus came, he also left his heaven and all the chilling that was over there and came to die for all of us as humans. In the same way, Paul is saying, husbands, love your wives, just as Christ loved the church and gave himself up for her. God loved Israel and gave up all the nations to have a union with Israel. Jesus says this is how God had also meant marriage to be like. A union of a man and a woman where the man leaves forsakes all others, even including his family, and forms a union with the wife. The man has to forsake something from the union. And now Paul is repeating the same thing. Husbands, love your wives. Jesus Christ loved the church and gave himself. He forsook something. And gave himself up for her, to make her holy, cleansing her by the washing with water through the word. And then, if you ask me, and most of the 2 weeks. With men tend to have the money, they tend to have the resources and everything. Society privileges the men. So it is men who have to lower themselves in their privileges to enter into a union to create one flesh. Most of the time, it is men. It's not always the case. Times have changed, things have moved forward. But most of the time, Scripture was written in a patriarchal society, so it's painting the picture. The powerful person has to let something go so that they can form a union that cannot be split. That is a one flesh union. So the church begins to adopt this one flesh union of lifelong faithfulness. The idea was that Yahweh, he was the husband of Israel for all their life. Not for, at some point, then he gets tired and he will say, no. The only reason why Yahweh will stop being the husband of Israel is if Israel has been unfaithful. If Israel has gone to take another husband. That's the only time Yahweh, if you look in Deuteronomy, all the things, the blessings and the curses. The curses were all just related to the fact that you will abandon me and go and worship other. But if you don't worship other gods, this town, this place I'm giving you called Canaan, you will live in it, you prosper, and like that. So when Babylon came to take Israel, the southern kingdom away, first the northern kingdom, Assyria came, and then the southern kingdom, Babylon came. For them, they understood clearly that it's because we have worshipped other gods. We have been unfaithful, we have been adulterous. That's why they were in trouble. I hope you get it. So it means for us as Christians, it is God's example which tells us how to be married and why. This is why in the world of the early Christianity, when the church began after the Spirit was poured out in the book of Acts and all those things, in the Roman world, at least among Romans, they were the people who said one man, one wife. But there was a small difference. In Romans, you marry a woman as my wife, but you are still allowed to have as many girlfriends as you want. As many as you want. As many sexual partners as you want. So even some had male partners and so. It was okay, normal. What they want is that the one who inherits your property, they should come from this one woman who is your legal wife. But the rest, you have some other children somewhere. Nobody cares. That was the only form of one man, one wife that existed before Christianity. So it was not that one man, one wife at that time. It was not to make sure that a man stay with the woman only and be faithful to her. It was not faithful. It was amorous. You have wife here, but with me too. So it is Christianity that brought the idea that you must have only one wife and you must stick to that one wife only. This is why, if you look at our cultures around and look at it's so difficult for our people to have one wife and to stay with that one wife. Typical example, today we are talking all over the place. That is Lumba. There are all sorts of circumstances now. Fell sick and his wife, this, that, thing, blah, blah, blah. But at the end of the day, man had multiple children in multiple places. Because first and foremost, he's an African. He will claim he's a Christian, but everybody just claims they are Christian. It's fashion, Ghana. So yeah, Christian. So even do our gospel album. Thank God. Listen to the music and Kobe. Yeah. There's nothing solid about it. But as far as mentioning God, he has done the Christian art. Or supposedly. Yeah, I don't judge those things. For us as Christians, we are here to take the model and example of our God. And he says, I left all the nations to form a union with Israel. And when I created man and woman, my intention was for them to also follow that same example, to create one flesh that cannot be broken. Okay, so for us, it's not surprising that the rest of the world has a difficulty in following what you are teaching. So what you see is that it is the Roman Catholic Church that forced Europe to adopt one man, one wife. The Europeans too, they were just like us. They were marrying as many as they want. Or at best, they will officially marry one, but then they have plenty wives. This was normal. Before I was following the there was no difference between the religions. So sometimes when people say, oh, one man, one wife, a brother culture, I say, no, it is not a brother culture. A year Christos. And you're bringing a divide. A year Christo are sorry in the divide. It is Jesus Christ and his church that will do it. The only problem is that Roman Catholic people force everybody to behave like that. So people don't understand, even in Europe, people didn't understand why they should have one wife or one husband. And because the religion was forcing them to have, not because they understood why it should be the right way, but because it was by force. It's what you do to look good in front of others. So yes, they will do one. Let's go to the church. So for marriage, fine, but plenty people had concubines on their side. So for a lot of people, they were just in Christianity for the name's sake, not because you want to truly be obedient. And so because the RC Church forced the Europeans to adopt this, then they brought, when they were coming to Africa to do their mission work, they brought that also to us. And many of us have adopted it. It has become even in our laws and so on. So it's a marriage by ordinance. All right. So you go to court and we sign the marriage by ordinance. It is a Christian thing, it's not a European. Today, many Europeans are like, oh, that thing, guys, blah, 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 blah. It's fine. If they want to go back to polygamy, polyamory, whatever thing they want, they should go back to it. Because it only makes sense within the worldview of Christianity. If you are not a Christian, it is not by force that you have to marry only one wife. It's not by force. We don't need to change Christianity to make it say that, oh, now you can marry 2 or 3 wives. No. Please feel free. If you want to marry 3, go and marry 5 or 3 or whatever you want. Don't go and be saying, oh, Abraham cried, he had 5 wives, and this one cried, he had this one. Those things are just laziness. Jesus taught the church a way to look at it. He said, look, those days you are allowed to do that. But I'm teaching you the better way. So follow the better way. If you are going to be in my kingdom and be under me, then this is how we are going to take the marriage, like it was supposed to be before. I hope you are getting. This is how it was supposed to be before. And we left that, and the Jewish people were not following it themselves, as with everything else. I mean, they ended up not being faithful Yahweh anyway. So it tells you that being married to one wife was a difficulty for them. Which is why when Jesus said what he said, hey, if this is the truth, then it is going to be a difficult thing. When you read Matthew 19, is that so? In the verse 10, Matthew 19, verse 10, the disciples said to him, if this is the situation between a husband and a wife, it is better not to marry. Because they were so used to, I marry, if thing is not going the way I like, I give her a certificate of divorce, then I go and find a new wife. They just like today, the disciples then felt like, this Jesus' law about marriage is going to restrict us. We can't enjoy the many wives that we want. So then it means, this your marriage thing there is going to be for. I hope you are getting it. And if the disciples thought it was a difficult thing then, it is still a difficult thing today. It has not become less difficult. It is just more, you see it more all over the place that marriage typically is one man, one wife. But it has never been easy, and it will continue to be. People will continue to question. People will continue to look at it as if it is a difficult thing. And we Christians should not give people the impression that it is a thing that anybody and everybody can. No, we choose to stay with one wife or one husband because God has told us so. So if that God is not your God, if you are not willing to be obedient to that God, or you don't believe in that God, feel free to do what you want. You get me? If you don't believe in that God, feel free to do what you want. But we say we are going to stick and be faithful because our God taught us that right from the beginning, that was how he meant things to be. And that is how he showed us it was meant to be through his relationship with Israel. And when Jesus came, he also gave another stamp of it and said, this is how it is. So there is no room for Christians to say, but the Bible, where this person had, if David cried, he says he's a man of God after God's own heart, but he had multiple wives. And I beg, we are not followers of David. We are followers of Jesus Christ. We are not Bible followers. We are Jesus followers. We follow what Jesus teaches. So yes, maybe when we get to a certain place, maybe the people who might come to the church might be people who are married multiple wives. Fine, we know that they are in a difficult situation. We will take it like that. But it doesn't mean we change the rules and say that, anybody and everybody have as many wives as they want. No. If we are going to a new relationship, if anybody from amongst us is going to get married, we tell you, remember, that thing you are going to, you are going to be faithful to that person for the rest of your life. So understand that and rather find ways to make this union between you and the woman a faithful, happy, joyful marriage. I hope we get it. So that is why today the world is now used to the idea of one man, one wife. Like I said, the Roman Catholics forced the rest of Europe to adopt that. Then the Europeans brought it to multiple continents. The African continent, the Asians, and so on. So even China, Japan, all those people, yeah, they were not colonized, like China and Japan, they were not colonized by the Europeans, but they adopted the culture. So Japan changed their laws in the 19th century, and China changed their laws around 1950 to ban polygamy and so on. But it's because they picked up the culture from Europeans. Next week, what we'll be doing is we'll be looking at what let's say we look at the benefits and the challenges of faithful monogamy versus what every other culture was doing, which was polygamy. At the time, I need to repeat this, at the time that it began, and Christians were insisting on only one man, one wife, it was weird. But everybody around them, even including the Jews, did not practice one man, one wife, where you stay together and are faithful to each other. The best example of one man, one wife was the Romans, but even they too. Their point was that the one you marry is just the one who gives you the children who inherit, but you are allowed to have as many concubines as you want. So it is a totally Christian innovation. And if the world doesn't want it, then they should say that we are going back. So that I don't understand this. Celebrities and so on, and they are married only one wife, and they are going to cheat somebody. Like, why people, you say you don't believe in Christianity and God again. So why don't we just change the rules? And allow yourself to have as many wives and concubines that you want. Why are you still trying to use Christian rules to decide for yourself how you should live? You don't believe in the Christianity again. You don't believe in God. Why are you still holding on to Christian ideas? Free yourself. If you say Christianity is all dumb and mama is good, and you having a smarter and wiser, listen, go ahead and do what you want to do. Change the laws. Stop disturbing all of us with this, all sorts of, I don't know how to say it.